Okay, so today is November the 19th. We're going to try this again. This is basically last night's homework. Last night's homework, we were talking about all the properties. So I'm just going to highlight as I go through these answers a few things that stand out to why the property is that property. Okay, so for associative property of multiplication, I see these parentheses. I also see the multiply. Same exact numbers. So, yes, associative property of multiplication. Yes.
I know we're not talking about that, but on subtraction, is it okay if I just can't multiply?
You talking about this one?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I just put can't subtract.
Right. So on number 3 here, you should have a no because it doesn't work. Make sure you have associative property and then something about the word subtraction. It doesn't work because of subtraction.
On Thursday, November 21st at 6 p.m. at the TMS Media Center, which is the library.
Okay, so here we go. Announcements are over now. We got number 2, commutative property of addition. I noticed the addition signs, the same exact numbers. Looking at number 4, 18 times 1 is 18. So it is a yes. Identity property of multiplication. Okay. Number 5, 7 times 2 is the same as 2 times 7. Yes. Commutative property of multiplication. Make sure you got it. Okay, this is a no, because associative property does not work with subtraction. We know if we see subtraction or division, these are not going to work. Okay, 7 plus 0 and 7 are the same. So yes, identity property of addition. This is a no, big time no. You need to check number 8 because of this 0. 0 plus 12 is 12. They're trying to trick you. So it is a no. They're trying to do identity property of addition, but 0 plus 12 would equal 12. Make sure you put some kind of description. Okay, commutative property of addition, down here on 9 would be right. Associative property of multiplication is right. Associative property of addition. And then this one is not right because of the division signs. Remember, if you see division or subtraction, these things are not going to work. We're going to review these again in just a little bit. But you need to have them memorized by Friday. Okay. One thing to throw out there. I put out there yesterday about 305 a Quizlet. I think it goes out every day this week, but it's for Friday's unit test. Guys, on Friday's unit test, it's just like last week's review. We've had problems like this, where if we told you like x plus 7, if we told you what x equaled, so giving an example, we told you maybe x equals 5, y equals 7. And so maybe we did x plus y. And then you filled it in, 5 plus 7. And then you gave me an answer. That we're doing this kind of math where we gave you the variables. We also have the little sentences like 7 less than a number. And you had to first define a variable. And, can you see it? There it is. Okay. So I would put something like n equals number. So with the word then, it would be n minus 7 because it swaps. 7 less than would be subtract n, but swap it. Okay. There is vocab. Make sure you start studying. It's on the Quizlet for Friday's 100-point test. There's order of operations, the properties, and then we do distributive property today. So, the first thing, I want to kind of show you a few things before I even pass out notes today. Okay, we've got to start opening our eyes in the algebra world to what I'm going to call some weird stuff, because we're not used to seeing letters in math. So it's hard enough when we've been doing stuff like this to fill it in and to, like, do I solve this one or not? So first I want to show you one thing. Okay. If someone tells you something like this, 2x plus 3x. Okay. I want to start out by just showing you something. These two are called like terms. They're like terms because they both have x's. They have the same variables. When they have the same variables, you can do the math. So, 2 plus 3, 5, and then keep the x. Okay? Only because it has the same variable. Now remember, if we don't tell you what x is, you can't solve it. There's nothing else we can do. Okay? I kind of call this cleaning it up. Please quit folding paper now. Thank you. Okay, now, you could have something like this. Maybe you have 9y minus 7y. Well, since they are like terms, they have the same letter, and we can do 9 minus 7, it's 2y. Okay, ones that you can't put together are ones that are not like terms. And they'll try to do this sometimes. Maybe they give you this, xy plus xyz. Well, I want you to notice, you got an x and a y, but because of that times z right there, they are not alike. You wouldn't get the same answers, like it doesn't work. So we can't do anything with those. We cannot clean it up. There's nothing you can do with it. Okay? You just have to leave that one. Here's another thing. Okay. Let's say, and here's a big one. I have about half the class's eyeballs. Okay. Let's say I tell you n plus 3n. Okay. They're both n, so they're like terms, right? Okay. I want you to see something. That has a 3. But in your mind, you kind of have to imagine what would be there. How many n's are there right there? Not right here.
1.
On just this side. 1. It's a 1n. So what you have to do is, math teachers, people, don't write 1n. Because it's not the simplest form. I want you to think about it. 1n means n. 1 times n is n. But you can combine these because 1n plus 3n is 1n plus 3n is 4n. So you have to know when there is not a number in front of it, but those variables match, you can combine it. Okay? Some of this kind of goes into what we're doing tomorrow, but then some of it is needed for today. Okay? We've been doing order of operations for 2 weeks. And some of the problems are as easy as this. And I'll have to show you why in just a second it doesn't work. Okay, give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so last week and this week, what will we do first with this problem? 7 plus 4, and it is 11. Then we would do times 2. 22. Okay, you got the answer, it's right, and all that good stuff. Okay, you could do that because, this is kind of weird to say, these are like terms. These are numbers that we can combine together. Just boring numbers. We know we can add, subtract, multiply, divide them. Okay, if there's something like this, we can't combine an n and a 4 because there's no n with that 4. It's just a 4. So what we have to do is what we're doing today called distributive property. To clean this up and to make it better than it is right now, we are going to distribute out this 2 based on that 2's bumped up against that parenthesis. So we know that already means multiply, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to do 2 times n, which is going to be 2n. We're going to bring down whatever symbols between them. And then we're going to do 2 times 4, which is 8. You have just simplified it. So far, it doesn't look like it to us, because our brain's like, ooh, all these letters and numbers, okay? But this is simpler to work with. The reason we do this is if we had some long order of operations problem, and way over here somewhere, there's something else with an n, we could combine them. Or if there was another number, like down here, there was a +9, we could combine them. So first we have to learn that when we see numbers up against parentheses, and what I call a bunch of stuff in between, we have to kind of clean it up by using distributive property. This isn't hard. Honestly, if you're watching the video and you are from 1st, 2nd, or 3rd period, I kind of taught it in a little bit longer step. Then Miss Sawyer came in here at the middle of 4th, I think it was, and kind of told me I was doing too much work. It's not that I was doing a bad thing. I'll show y'all what I was doing. She just said that you could do it in less steps, which, I mean, I'll take less steps anytime I can. So I'll show y'all both ways, kind of explain the difference. Now, what I'm doing is distributing these papers. I'm passing them out. That is the whole key with distributive property. You're passing out papers or passing out numbers to every person equally. Hurry. It's every day, baby. As soon as I get started teaching, it is every day. Thank you. Now, we'll get it in a minute. So, here we go. It's okay. We'll get it in a minute. Starting out. And I'm just going to kind of show the difference. If you are in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or maybe the beginning of 4th period. Okay. All it is you would have this math problem. 2 times 7 plus 4. Okay. All it is Miss Willis is teaching it this way. She makes them write out the parentheses. And it's not a bad thing, it's just different. Okay? So, what she has them do first is 2 times 7. And they have to write it out. 2.7. Then they put a plus. And they do 2 times 4. So they put 2.4. They show, another parenthesis. They show the parentheses and how they did the math or what numbers they're working with. Okay. Well, all it is the difference between and then you would work it out. 2 times 7, 14. 2 times 8, 2 times 4, 8. Add it together, 22. Okay. And we can combine those because they're just numbers, boring numbers. Okay. The only difference is Sawyer does it this way. And it's kind of weird to say that different teachers teach it different ways, but I just kind of noticed this today. Okay. What Sawyer does is she says that her kids have to show the arrows. So they do this, they show this arrow 2 times 7, and they're allowed to go ahead and put 14. It's kind of like they skip a step. Then they draw the next arrow. They put the plus, and they do 2 times 4 is 8. Notice, all it is they skip this step. 14 plus 8 is still 22. it doesn't matter which way you do it. I think I am going to shorten it. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. But if you had me first, second, third, this is probably the way I showed you. It's not a bad thing. It's just different. Here is the key. When you distribute variables, you are doing A times B. Well, that's the only way to show it, just A times B. There's nothing else we can do with it. Plus A times C. We just do A times C. Okay? We can't combine those because they both don't have B's or C's. Like, they got to be the same. Okay, so here we go. We're going to rewrite these expressions. It's easy breezy. I just kind of want to take my video and just kind of take a minute and show them. Okay, so starting out, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do the short way. Here we go. I start out with this 8. I'm distributing the 8 to the x. So it's 8x. Bring down the plus sign. And then 8 times 3 is 24. That's it. That's all you do. So we're going to distribute out each one. Okay, so the next one. 1 second, I'm having a moment. Okay, 5 times m is 5m plus 5 times 9, 45. You're just passing out that number to everything in the parentheses. If there's 10 things in the parentheses, you pass it out 10 times. It's kind of weird. Okay, this one, we got 2 times 7, 14, plus 2 times 3k.
3,000?
No, okay, I know y'all are used to seeing k as thousands, but listen, in algebra, we don't know what k is, so it's just a k. It could be a 2, it could be a 12, we don't know. So, 2 times 3 is 6, keep the k. Is it like too easy, I hope?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, because all we're doing is distributing. Y'all good so far? Okay, that's all we're doing. Here we go. Now, let's do some on the bottom here. No, this is not your homework. It's just we left the word on there on accident. Okay, here we go. So,
Wait, on number 3, at the, for the example part, didn't you say that it was 2 times 43? Hold up.
2 times 3k.
Yeah, hold up.
6k. Right there.
Oh.
2 times 3k, which is 6k. Now, I don't know if I should get this deep, but I want to show you something. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 2 times 3k is 6k.
Oh, I see what I did. I added 2 plus 7.
Guys, I'm on these first 3. Are there any questions before I move on for these 3? Okay, give me just a second. Okay, so are we good now? Okay. Go into the next section. Okay, same thing. All we're doing, we're showing distributive property. In fact, all we can do is rewrite it. To be honest, we can't solve it. Okay, so 4 times x is 4x. Bring down the plus. 4 times 3 is 12. There's your answer. Are you writing this with me?
X times 12. I mean, x plus 12.
4x plus 12.
Oh.
It just shows me you're using distributive property. No error, yes, I need arrows. Or we can go up to writing the extra step, like I was doing earlier. Okay, listen, 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so we get on, can I go to number 2? Okay, 7 times 4. 28. Bring down the plus. 7 times n. 7n. 2 times 5b. 2 times 5b. 10b plus 2 times 8. 16.
So why do we keep the 4 and the number 1, but then we got rid of the 7 and number 2?
Okay, good question. Listen. 7 times 4 is 28. So we can simplify that by actually doing the math.
But since there is no like number in 4, we just gonna keep weird numbers
With
in
x,
4.
right.
Oh, okay.
If you can do the multiplication, you do it. But if there's a variable involved, you have to just leave the variable. Okay? Later down the line, you might be able to combine some variable type stuff. We're just not there yet. Okay? Okay. So look at number 4. 9 times 6. 54. Plus 9 times 2y. 18y. Okay. 3 times p. 3p. Plus 3 times 11. 33. Okay. Number 6. 5 times 7. 35. Plus 5 times 11, m is 55m. Okay. Thank you. It's okay. Just let everybody think. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 6 times x, 6x. Okay. This is an S. This is an S. So, 8 times S is 8S plus 8 times 9 is 72. I know. Please quit. Okay, 4 times 2A, 8A, plus 4 times 1, 4. Okay, now I did like that sometimes the variables are in the front, sometimes the variables are in the back. It doesn't matter. Just distribute out that number to everything. Do what? I'm getting it. Okay. Now, on the back. Now, listen. Right now, just to refresh your minds, you are going to list, just like yesterday. Write, tell me a yes or no if it's equal. Tell me which property it is. And then if it's not equal, tell me why. Now, you might need your notes to remember these properties. What I'm going to do is give you a few minutes to kind of do these. And then, okay, and then we'll kind of reconvene in a minute and check our answers. These are the property notes from yesterday, if that will help you at all while you're working on it. We'll give you a few minutes. Okay, so the camera turned back on. So what we're going to do is keep going. All it is, I just want to show you guys, every other class, to be honest, I had at least 3 kids absent in about every class. This was good review, not only kind of to keep your brain fresh on it. If you don't look at it between now and Friday, you're going to forget these properties. Okay? So all it is I'm just going to kind of go over just showing what property and why. Every class did this today, like we all went over it. So, like this first one, I know it's associative property because of these parentheses. Okay. I also know it's of multiplication because of all these multiply signs. I check, and my math is the same on each side, so it's associative property of multiplication. And it is a yes, meaning they're equal. Okay.
I forgot to put associative.
You got to. That's the biggie. In fact, on the test, I know I just wrote this over there, but we only give you the hint of the main 3 words in the directions. it says label it either, write the property, their associative community identity. But you got to know the rest of the words. Okay? Mm-hmm. You don't have to flip it. You don't have to flip it. Associative is grouping symbols moving. Commutative is where the numbers flip. Does that help a little bit? Numbers move around. It's kind of confusing. I just know if I see parentheses, I usually first just start staring at associative. So, okay. Is that good? Okay. Number 2. So this one, the numbers do move. I see that it's commutative because the numbers are moving, but commutative does not work because of division. I know that. I wouldn't get the same answer. Here I get 2, and here I'd get something else. So it doesn't work. Okay? Mm-hmm.
Number 2, if you said like can't divide, that's the one.
Can't divide, yes. Something about division, yes. Okay, the third one. I see it has a times 1. So I know they're doing this identity and multiplication. Thing is, be careful. Over here, they put 1. But 27 times 1 is 27. That's why it's no. These are not equal. This would be 27. That's a 1. So it is a no because of that answer. Kind of take it slow. Okay. Looking at 4. It is, I see the plus 0. So I know it's an identity. I know it's a property of addition. I see the plus. Making sure the math is right. 16 plus 0 is 16. That's 16, so it's a yes. Okay. Next one. Okay, they're trying to do associative. I see a bunch of parentheses, but with all these subtraction signs, it's not going to work. So with subtraction, associative property does not work. Okay, 6. I got 14 and 1 times 14. Now, this was not a tricker. It's just something we didn't show you before. Listen, they're the same thing. They like rotated the way they wrote it. It is a yes, like it is okay, because this side would equal 14. 1 times 14 would be 14. So they're showing you the identity of multiplication. Some kids kind of got confused because the 1 times 14 wasn't in the front. But it doesn't matter. As long as they're equal, you're good. Okay. Number 7. We got the same sets of numbers. I see plus. So commutative property of addition. Mainly because of the plus signs. And then the last one, they're trying to do associative, but it doesn't work because of these division signs. I wouldn't get the same answer on each side. Okay. Now, this is the confusing part. If you, and I know I'm kind of talking to the video right a second, but if you are in my 4th, please let me talk, guys. These guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. If you are in my 4th period class, you got this worksheet. Okay. Now, it was a little challenge from Miss Sawyer's group, and honestly, nothing is different. You're just distributing the numbers. Okay. There are also 2 kids in my 5th period who have this sheet, which is fine, not a big deal. Okay. The rest of the classes have ended up with, give me a second. Okay, this distributive property worksheet. So everybody but 4th and 2 kids in 5th have ended up with this. Okay. So, since this is kind of the main, what most people have, I'm going to kind of video going over a few of these. All of first period has this worksheet. All of second period. All of third. Most of fifth. I know it's weird. And then, seventh. Y'all are seventh. So, I'll show you exactly what you have to do. It's not long, guys. I know, it's just distributive property. Okay. If you have an extra copy, just stick it on the desk. No, but if you have an extra copy, just put it on that desk back there. I'm scared the other row might run out. 3, 4. It doesn't take long, I promise. It's like the fastest homework you've had all year, which is true. Okay. And all it is, you're welcome. All it is we wanted to kind of give a drop of a challenge. So we made a little bit more tough worksheet, and then I ran out of copies. So here we go. Okay, so the classes that have this one, first, second, third, most of fifth, and seventh. Okay, all I'm saying is that these are the classes that have this worksheet. The worksheet looks like this. Just trying to show it in case anyone's at home wondering what it is. Okay, so showing you how to do it, here we go. I'm going to do one of each section. All you're doing is using distributive property. Here we go. So, 5 times 9, 45. Plus 5 times 5.
25.
And since these are like terms, I mean, they're just numbers. You can add them.
Oh, I thought you didn't want us to.
Okay, here's the key. That's why this was a little confusing, because the notes, we kept saying don't add them. But I want your brain to also start thinking, if you've got a 45 and a 25, you know you can put those together. Okay, now, these. Now, look down at 7. When you get to 7, all you're doing, like you're still doing 4 times x is 4x. Plus 4 times 3 is 12. But is there an x there? No. So you're done. That's all you can do with that one. I kind of like this worksheet because it's showing you both ways. Some you're going to combine, some you don't. Okay? So, once again, y'all keep working. This is first, second, third. Most of fifth and seventh. Okay. If you are in fifth, or there are 2 kids who got the other one, then, no, fourth. Anyway, if you are in fourth, or the 2 kids in fifth, you have this one. So this is fourth. Or 2 kids in fifth. Guys, you should still be working on this. Okay? Then you would have this worksheet. And these just had a drop of a challenge, guys. You guys who are watching, look real quick at something. You all gasped. I don't know the word, I tried to say it. Just because you started to see longer problems. But I want you to see something. This is the same thing. All you're doing, what's 5 times 9r?
45.
45r. Plus, what's 5 times 2s?
10.
10s. Plus, what's 5 times 4t?
20.
You just did it. Nothing is different. Nothing's different. It just had 3 numbers in the middle.
Now, if we were doing that paper, we would add all that up.
Okay, we can't add these up because the variables are different. But tomorrow when we do this, some of the variables might be the same, which means we're going to do another step of combining like variables. Okay. Yes.
Number 9, is that an 8?
Number 9. It is an 8. Yes, it is an 8. Okay. Little confusion on homework tonight, but it's all distributive property. Start studying Quizlet.